I don't think anybody who is aware of themselves is ever the same person the second day. And I think leadership is about awareness. And my awareness came really back in 1999. I'd been CEO of WD-40 company for 2 years. And I wanted to really understand how we could get people in the heart instead of just in the head. So I went back to school. I did a master's degree in leadership at the University of San Diego. And that's where I met my dear friend and the person who actually wrote the foreword to my book, Dr. Ken Blanchard. And it was there that I was made aware of the power of servant leadership. And so it was around that time that I decided that servant leadership was really the path of a leader that was dedicated to bringing the best out of those they had the privilege to lead. I think leadership is about awareness, and it's about how brave we are to look in the mirror and see how our leadership behaviors are either enhancing our leadership ability, or are we being a toxic leader and not helping those that we have the privilege to lead? So number one is you have to be aware. Number two is you have to be intentional about changing those behaviors, because it's really up to you. It's your behavior that influences or motivates or doesn't motivate the people you have the privilege to lead. If you're aware of the DISC profile, well, I was a turbo D, and a turbo D is be brief, be bright, and be gone. So if I executed that sort of behavior, I wasn't taking into consideration all of the other behaviors that I needed to. For example, a turbo D and a turbo I, and an I is someone who's all about relationships. I had to move to being more I than D. In other words, respecting the voices of others. I had to become a better listener. I had to become someone who showed gratitude. I often say, don't let your ego eat your empathy. Have your empathy eat your ego. So again, it's the self-awareness that's important. And then you have to practice that. Interestingly enough, I have a little notebook that I carry around, and also on my computer. And on it, I have a little list here. And you would think now, after all these years, I wouldn't need to remind myself who I want to be when I'm my best. But I do. And this little list here says, am I being the person I want to be right now? And then who is that person? And that, for me, that person is someone who's grateful, caring, empathetic, reasonable, a listener, fact-based, has a balanced opinion, is curious, is a learner, and someone who throws sunshine, not a shadow. So I don't know how many times a day I read this, but I need to remind myself, because, Sophie, at the end of the day, we are just these basic human beings bumbling our way down the pathway of life. And in the bushes are these thieves of emotion that come out and grab us. Thieves of anger, greed, selfishness, and they take us in the bushes. And for a moment, we feel comfortable there. But if we're not brave enough to get out of that bush, if you will, and get back on the path, we'll never reach our destiny. So it's very important to be comfortable about reminding yourself, who do you want to be? Did I do my best to be something today, and who is that best person?